this?
She likes it.
Just sometimes. Not all the time. Don't tell anybody. It's a special
occasion.
Just a little bit.
You like it? What do you like about it? What do you like about it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it tastes like it smells like hops and plants. The hoppiness is there, but it's still kind of clear and crisp like a Pilsner. I think I like food truck better.
Food truck was good. But I also think I liked beer more back then. No, I hate it.
Now you hate beer. This is the review by Big Iron H
Hey, Big Iron H.
from Michigan.
Thank you for calling.
Pours translucent.
Translucent.
Pours translucent straw with a finger of white foam. Nose is fruity pebbles, citrus, bitter hop, and earth.
Fruity Pebbles. You need to get your sniffer fixed.
Earth. Nose of earth.
And what was Fruity Pebbles? The taste?
Nose of fruity pebbles, citrus, bitter hop, and earth.
Earth? Just
And
the
earth.
earth?
And earth.
Smells like earth.
Taste follows suit. There's a lot going on here, but it all melds perfectly and is a delicious, easy drinker. Feel is crisp and sharp, but smooth. Excellent. I agree with the feel.
I don't want any more.
Fruity Pebbles.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Have you had Fruity Pebbles? Oh, it's another cereal we gotta get.
I'll get all that cereal. I have some in my apartment right now.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh my God.
Yes, of course.
Mm.
So good.
All right.
I'm not impressed.
I like your phone case.
Thanks.
Oh, we gotta rate this.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a sleepy bean.
Space Chase. Arvon. Pilsner. What happened to the other Pilsner? Where's food truck? Oh, German Pilsner. Yeah, aren't Pilsners German?
Huh?
German Pilsner just sounds redundant.
I couldn't tell you. You know, in the year plus that we've been doing this, I have retained zero information about beer.
Oh, did we rate? I don't think we rated the brown ale.
Did we not?
Did we rate the brown ale? Did we just forget?
I thought we did.
No, we didn't. We got 2 beers to rate.
Well, son of a bitch, I don't remember how it tastes.
The brown ale, Bell's Brewery. The Precious Little Treats was the stout. Apple of My Eye was fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
Berry White was pale wheat ale. I think I'm gonna put Best Brown Ale at a 6, and I'm gonna put this at a 5.
What do I have open?
Anything but 2, 5, and 4. So you have Apple of My Eye at a 2, Precious Little Treats at a 5, and Berry White at a 4.
Okay, I'm gonna need the bells to go at a 5.
Okay.
And then I need Precious Little Treats to go to a 6.
Okay. And then Space Chase.
Space Chase can go. Actually, put Precious Little Treats at a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Put this at a 6.
Oh, you like the brown ale more. Copy that. Take it away.
Outer Space. commonly shortened to just space. Just space.
For the layman,
Yeah, for the lame.
it's space.
For you non-astrophysicists out there, is the expanse that exists beyond Earth and its atmosphere and between celestial bodies. If you really need me to explain this, like what space is,
I love it.
Who are you?
You know what
Did you
space
go to
is.
school?
It's the black stuff in the sky.
It is a hard vacuum, like a Dyson.
As opposed to the soft vacuums.
Exactly. Containing a low density of particles, predominantly a plasma of hydrogen and helium, as well as electromagnetic radiation, magnetic fields, dust, and cosmic rays. I have a tickle in my throat.
Ooh.
Ew. The baseline temperature of outer space, as set by the background radiation from the Big Bang, is 2.7 kelvins, or negative 454.81 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, that's cold as hell.
That's cold. The plasma between galaxies is thought to account for about half of the baryonic matter in the universe. It's called ordinary matter. Why am I talking like this?
Half of the man in the universe.
Nearly all matter that may be encountered or experienced in everyday life is baryonic matter. Not Barry Manilow, baryonic matter. It includes atoms of any sort and provides them with the property of mass.
Huh.
That mass, though.
Yeah, Adam's got some math.
Got some mass. Having a number density of less than 1 hydrogen atom per cubic meter and a temperature of millions of Kelvin. Just gonna keep doing different voices. Ow. Studies indicate that 90% of the mass in most galaxies is in an unknown form called dark matter, which interacts with other matter through gravitational but not electromagnetic forces.
Mm-hmm.
Get it, guys?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Observations suggest that the majority of the mass energy in the observable universe is dark energy, a type of vacuum energy that is poorly understood. Intergalactic space takes up most of the volume of the universe, but even galaxies and star systems consist almost entirely of empty space.
It's crazy.
Oh, I don't like the whisper in my ears.
It's really crazy.
Stop it. You stink. Ew. My side hurts so much right now. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
You should drink the rest of mine. You don't got work till like 11 tomorrow. The size of the whole universe is unknown, and it might be infinite in extent. According to the Big Bang Theory, the very early universe was an extremely hot and dense state about 13.8 billion years ago, which rapidly expanded. About 3...
You're talking about the TV show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Yeah. Young Sheldon's been on for a while.
Yeah.
About 13.8 billion years.
Right.
About 380,000 years later, the universe had cooled sufficiently to allow protons and electrons to combine and form hydrogen, the so-called recombination epoch.
Uh-huh.
When this happened, matter and energy became decoupled, allowing photons to travel freely through the continually expanding space.
God, that's fucking crazy.
I know, those photons. Matter that remained following the initial expansion has since undergone gravitational collapse to create stars, galaxies, and other astronomical objects, leaving behind a deep vacuum that forms what is now called outer space. As light has a finite velocity, this theory also constrains the size of the directly observable universe. Science words.
It's wild.
The present-day shape of the universe has been determined from measurements of the cosmic microwave background using satellites. These observations indicate that the spatial geometry of the observable universe is flat, meaning that photons on parallel paths at one point remain parallel as they travel through space to the limit of the observable universe.
Yeah, of course.
Except for local gravity.
Oh, right.
All of this makes 100% sense.
Yeah, I forgot about local gravity.
We're going to go into rocket science after this.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. For sure. Outer space is the closest known approximation to a perfect vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
It has effectively no friction, which a vacuum just is a space devoid of matter.
Right. Not like a Dyson.
Not like a Dyson. A Dyson is just matter.
Mm-hmm.
It has covered it. It has effectively no friction, allowing stars, planets, and moons to move freely along their ideal orbits. Not the gum. Following the initial formation stage, the deep vacuum of intergalactic space is not devoid of matter as it contains a few hydrogen atoms per cubic meter. By comparison, the air humans breathe contains about 10 molecules per cubic meter. It says 10 and then it says 25 in tiny. You know how it would be like a
25 in tiny.
tiny.
10 to the 25.
Yeah, 10 to the 25th or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The low density of matter in outer 10 to the tiny.
10 to the tiny 25.
The low density of matter in outer space. I did not take physics.
I failed math class.
Means that electromagnetic radiation can travel great distances without being scattered. Stars, planets, and moons, and horseshoes, clovers, and balloons retain their atmospheres by gravitational attraction. I produce gravitational attraction. Atmospheres have no clearly upper boundary. The density of atmospheric gas gradually decreases with distance from the object until it becomes indistinguishable from outer space. So we just kind of merge together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just...
Yeah, just like that.
Can you do it? No. It's more of a whistle.
Yeah.
The temperature of outer space is measured in terms of the kinetic activity of the gas as it is on Earth. The radiation of outer space has a different temperature than the kinetic temperature of the gas, meaning that the gas and radiation are not in thermodynamic equilibrium. Oh, no.
Woe is me.
All of the observable universe is filled with photons that were created during the Big Bang, which is known as the cosmic microwave background radiation. The gas temperatures in outer space can vary widely. For example, the temperature in the Boomerang Nebula is 1K.
I thought you were going to say the temperature in the boob.
In the boob, because I'm touching my boob. While the solar corona reaches temperatures over 1.2 to 2.6 million K.
That's a lot of K.
You should only do a little K. Not a lot. I am in so much pain on my side right now.
That's really weird.
I'm fat. I'm fat and old. That's what it is, buddy. That's what happens. Don't get fat. Or
old.
Despite the harsh environment, several life forms have been found that can withstand extreme space conditions for extended periods. Species of lichen, carried on the ESA Biopan facility, survived exposure for 10 days in 2007. Seeds of Arabidopsis thaliana and nicotine germinated after being exposed to space for 1.5 years.
What are those little water bears?
Tardigrades.
Tardigrades? Yeah, I think those can survive in space too. They sent a few of those up there, and they were like, "Yeah, no problem."
Yeah, tardigrades can survive in anything.
Yeah.
A strain of Bacillus subtilis. Bacillus? It's a type of bacteria found in soil.
Oh.
Have survived 559 days when exposed to low Earth orbit or a simulated Martian environment. Even at relatively low altitudes in the Earth's atmosphere, conditions are hostile to the human body. The altitude where atmospheric pressure matches the vapor pressure of water at the temperature of the human body is called the Armstrong line.
Oh.
Named after a physician. It is located at an altitude of around 11.89 miles at or above the Armstrong line. Fluids in the throat and lungs boil away. More specifically, exposed bodily liquids such as saliva, tears, and liquids in the lungs boil away. Hence, at this altitude, human survival requires a pressure suit or a pressurized capsule. Out in space, sudden exposure of an unprotected human to very low pressure, such as during a rapid decompression, can cause pulmonary barotrauma, a rupture of the lungs due to the large pressure differential between inside and outside the chest. Even if the subject's airway is fully open, the flow of air through the windpipe may be too slow to prevent the rupture. Rapid decompression can rupture eardrums and sinuses. Bruising and blood seep can occur in soft tissues, and shock can cause an increase in oxygen consumption that leads to hypoxia. As a consequence of rapid decompression, oxygen dissolved in the blood empties into the lung to try to equalize the partial pressure gradient. Once the deoxygenated blood arrives at the brain, humans lose consciousness after a few seconds and die of hypoxia within minutes.
You said about 11 miles?
Yes.
I was interested. I looked up because planes fly at about 30,000 feet, I think, 35,000. That's about 6.6 miles. So we're about halfway there.
When we fly.
When we fly in planes, and you can, notice like the pressure in your ears and stuff like that. And it feels weird, but nowhere near any of that. That sounds awful.
Yeah. Blood and other bodily fluids boil when the pressure drops below 6.3 kPa. And this condition is called ebullition.
Kilopascals. Yeah.
The steam may bloat the body due to twice its normal size and slow circulation, but tissues are elastic and porous enough to prevent rupture. The crew altitude protection suit, or CAPS, a fitted elastic garment designed in the 1960s for astronauts, prevents ebullition at pressures as low as 2 pascals. Supplemental oxygen is needed at 5 miles to provide enough oxygen for breathing and to prevent water loss, while above 12 miles, pressure suits are essential to prevent ebullition. Most spacesuits use around 30 to 39 pascals of pure oxygen, about the same as on the Earth's surface. Humans evolved for life in Earth's gravity, and exposure to weightlessness has been shown to have
Really? You don't say.
My brain is
Doug Dimmadome?
Doug Dimmadome, owner of the
Dinkelberg.
Effects on human health. Initially, more than 50% of astronauts experience space motion sickness. This can cause nausea and vomiting, vertigo, headaches, lethargy, and overall malaise. The duration of space sickness varies, but it typically lasts for 1 to 3 days, after which the body adjusts to the new environment. Long-term exposure to weightlessness results in muscle atrophy and deterioration of the skeleton or space flight osteopenia. These effects can be minimized through a regimen of exercise. How do you exercise in weightlessness? Other effects include fluid redistribution, slowing of the cardiovascular system, decreased production of red blood cells, balance disorders, and a weakening of the immune system. Lesser symptoms include loss of body mass, nasal congestion, sleep disturbance, and puffiness of the face.
Yeah, we weren't meant to exist up there.
No.
There's stories of like, what if you were born in? Oh, Vsauce has a great video. What if you were born in space? Yeah, check that out.
I don't.
Non-sponsored plug.
I don't watch Vsauce.
Okay.
During long-duration space travel, radiation can pose an acute health hazard. Exposure to high-energy ionizing cosmic rays can result in fatigue, nausea, vomiting, as well as damage to the immune system and changes to the white blood cell count. Over longer durations, symptoms include an increased risk of cancer, plus damage to the eyes, nervous system, lungs, and the gastrointestinal tract. On a round-trip Mars mission lasting 3 years, a large fraction of the cells in an astronaut's body would be traversed and potentially damaged by high-energy nuclei. The energy of such particles is significantly diminished by the shielding provided by the walls of a spacecraft, and can be further diminished by water containers and other barriers. The impact of the cosmic rays upon the shielding produces additional radiation that can affect the crew. Further research is needed to assess the radiation hazards and determine suitable countermeasures.
Hmm.
There's a thing called the Outer Space Treaty.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
It basically provides the basic framework for international space law. We have space law.
We've got a space force.
Silly. It covers the legal use of outer space by nation states and includes in its definition of outer space the moon and other celestial bodies. The treaty states that outer space is free for all nation states to explore and is not subject to claims of national sovereignty, calling outer space the providence of all mankind. I got burpees.
Me too.
The treaty was passed by the United Nations General Assembly in 1963 and signed in 1967 by the USSR, the United States of America, and the United Kingdom. As of 2017, 105 state parties have either ratified or acceded to the treaty. What do you go into?
I talk about deaths that occurred in space.
Oh, that's cool. I'm into that.
Yeah.
There's so much that you can talk about. There's a lot.
Oh yeah. Space is
Here's some fun facts.
huge.
My spine. Space is completely silent. There is no atmosphere in space, which means that sound has no medium or way to travel to be heard. So when you die in space, nobody hears you scream.
Oh. I don't even think you can scream in space.
If you're in a spacesuit.
Well, if you're in a spacesuit, yeah.
My thought process is because as soon as you go into space, you are dead, right? You die pretty much immediately.
Yeah,
Right, if
several
you're not in a
seconds.
spacesuit.
Yeah.
So are you really there if you're dead? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah,
you're in a spacesuit,
you die
that means
pretty
you're
quick.
in space.
Right.
So if you scream, no one can hear you.
You're right. Yeah.
The hottest planet in our solar system is 450 degrees Celsius. It's Venus.
That's right.
Venus is cool. It's got acid rain.
You'd assume it was Mercury, but
You'd think with how close it is to the sun.
yeah.
Venus is the hottest planet in the solar system and has an average surface temperature of around 450 degrees Celsius.
Oof.
A full NASA spacesuit costs $12 million.
Jesus.
I know.
Holy shit. Oh my God.
70% of the cost is for the backpack and control module.
Wow.
The spacesuits that NASA uses were built in 1974. If they were priced by today's pricing, they would cost an estimated $150 million. The sun's mass takes up 99.86% of the solar system.
Yeah. Yeah, sun's pretty big.
The mass of the sun is about 330,000 times that of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It is also made up of mostly hydrogen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
About 1 million Earths can fit inside the sun.
Yeah, it's also very hot.
What?
Yep.
No.
It is.
You're
It is.
wrong.
It's very hot.
You're full of shit.
Mm-hmm.
There are more trees on Earth than stars in the Milky Way.
What?
Doesn't that sound weird?
No way.
I got my facts from a university.
So we know they're right.
This is from an accredited school.
No fucking way.
There are about 3 trillion trees on planet Earth and between 100 to 400 billion stars in the galaxy.
That's it?
That's just our galaxy, though.
3 trillion trees.
A lot of trees. Not with deforestation. Go donate.
Yeah, exactly.
Save the world.
Smokey the Bear.
The sunset on Mars appears blue.
Wow.
According to NASA, fine dust makes the blue near the sun's part of the sky much more visible-like, while normal daylight makes the red planet's familiar rusty dust color the most perceptible to the human eye. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth.
Yes. That was the fact that I was thinking about.
However, scientists estimate the universe contains approximately a big number of stars.
It's pretty big.
Or a septillion.
Oh, that's a lot. That is a big number.
While no one can actually count every single grain of sand on the
Try me.
Earth, just you wait, I have a lot of time on my hands.
Is that a fucking challenge?
The estimated total from researchers at the University of Hawaii is somewhere around 7 quintillion, 500 quadrillion grains. I've never had to use those words.
7 quintillion, 500 quadrillion?
They're just making shit up now. One day on Venus is longer than 1 year? Question mark? Venus has a slow axis rotation, which takes 243 Earth days to complete its day. The orbit of Venus around the Sun is 225 Earth days, making a year on Venus 18 days less than a day on Venus.
Wow.
Weird. There is a planet made of diamonds. It's twice the size of Earth. It's called Super Earth, aka 55 Cancri. It's mostly covered in graphite and diamond.
How far away is it?
I don't know. It doesn't say. Look it up.
Doing it.
Thanks. And then I leave you with some fun facts about black holes.
Yes.
You cannot directly see a black hole. A black hole is called a black hole because of its color, especially since light can't escape. What we can see, though, is the effects of a black hole.
Mm-hmm.
For example, a star that's close enough to a black hole can be seen being ripped apart. I want to see a star being ripped apart. That sounds interesting.
It is 41 light years away from the sun.
How much is a light year again?
It's how long it takes to travel in a year. No. It's how long it takes light to travel in a year. So if you travel at the speed of light, you will go a light year's distance in a year.
Okay.
But if you're not traveling at the speed of light, then I don't think that's on my Samsung calculator. Light year to mile. It depends on how quick you're going. It is 5.879 times 10 to the 12 miles.
Times 10 to the 12 miles.
Yeah. Is a light year. It's pretty far.
The death of large stars leads to black holes because a star's gravity will overwhelm the star's natural pressure that it maintains to keep its shape. When the pressure from the nuclear reactions collapses, gravity overwhelms and collapses the star's core, and the star's other layers are thrown off into space, and this process is also known as a supernova. The remainder of the core collapses, a spot overcome by density and without volume, a black hole.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 categories of black holes. Primordial black holes. These are the smallest of black holes and range from an atom's size to a mountain's mass. Stellar black holes, and these are the most common of black holes. They can be up to 20 times more massive than the sun.
Wow.
There are also a variety of these all over the Milky Way. Supermassive black holes. These are the largest black holes. What? Being more than 1 million times more massive than the sun. I can't imagine something that
Jesus
fucking
Christ.
huge. That makes me feel so tiny.
And that something that massive takes it has a lot of gravitational pull. The more mass it has, the more gravitational energy it has.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I understand it. So it's like that's doing a lot of sucking.
Say someone falls into a black hole and there's an observer that witnesses this.
Mm-hmm.
The person who fell into the black hole, time slows down relative to the person watching.
Again, Vsauce has another great video. What if you fall into a black hole? They explain everything. It's pretty great.
This is explained by Einstein's theory of general relativity, which states that time is affected by how fast you are going when you're at extreme speeds close to light.
Mm-hmm.
The first black hole wasn't discovered until X-ray astronomy was used. Cygnus X1 was the first black hole discovered in the 1960s, and it's 10 times more massive than the sun.
You reminded me too. You were talking about if you saw someone fall into a black hole. It's one of the things that Michael Stevens talks about in the video. You would see the person approach the center of the black hole slower and slower and slower and slower until it looks like they just stopped moving, and then they would slowly disappear. Like they
Like
would,
the matter would just...
they'd be frozen. You would see them frozen, and then it's like
the matter would just dissolve.
It would fade out.
That's creepy.
It's like their entire body just fades out.
That's creepy.
Yeah, it's insane. It's so weird.
Don't fuck with black holes.
Don't fuck with black holes.
The closest black hole is probably a black hole.
Yeah.
V4647 Sagittarii was thought to be 1,600 light years away, but is further away than expected. Scientists now believe that this black hole is about 20,000 light years away.
Oh, yeah. 26,000 light years. 132 million mile radius. It's 4 million years old. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. And I'm 26. No, I'm 27.
You're a speck in the universe, baby. That's my section.
Blowing my mind.
Now I want to try and find a video of a black hole doing something.
Yeah, no, that Vsauce video about black holes is great.
Is there a video of a black hole?
There's like a lot of he shows pictures of actual black holes, and there's a lot of black hole simulation videos he shows.
That's just a picture of a black hole.
I can put it up on the TV if you want. If you really want to watch it.
I just want to be scared.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here, and
Ew.
today we are going to go inside a black hole. The sun has a much larger Schwarzschild radius, and when it runs out of fuel and can no longer keep itself hot enough, it collapses to a single infinitesimally small point known as a singularity. Its dense number of the black holes suck, but the light coming off of that galaxy certainly is. Watch as the galaxy passes behind the black hole, and its light is contorted, twisted, and distorted. Now here's a really fun demonstration. What if the Earth were were to orbit around a black hole. Looking from the outside, the Earth would look normal at first, but as soon as it passed behind the black hole's gravitational field would warp the light reflecting off the Earth, producing this. For the sake of simplicity, let's jump into a simple black hole, one that doesn't have a charge and is for intents and purposes here on Earth, we never have to worry about that. But near a black hole, gravity would be so strong that an observer standing, watching you jump into the hole, would see something quite strange. They wouldn't see you get sucked quickly into the hole. Instead, they would see your approach become slower and slower and slower until you reached a point known as the event horizon. This is the point in space where, once crossed, there's no going back. It is at that point that light can no longer escape. And so to a person watching you fall into the hole, that would be where your journey ended. You would seem almost frozen in space, the light coming off your body becoming increasingly redshifted until you simply faded into nothingness. They would never see you cross the event horizon. But for you, of course,
Yeah, it's insane.
That's so weird.
Black holes are crazy.
Yeah, man. The universe is crazy.
I'll try to go through my section pretty quick. I'm going to start with, there's a video from Tech Insider, and this is the narration of the video. What would happen if you went to space without a spacesuit?
Oh.
Whatever you do, don't hold your breath. The vacuum of space will pull the air from your body.
Oh.
So if there's air left in your lungs, they will rupture. Oxygen in the rest of your body will also expand. You'll balloon up twice your normal size, but you won't explode. Your skin is elastic enough to hold you together. Any exposed liquid on your body will begin to vaporize. So the surfaces of your tongue and eyes will boil, like you mentioned. Without air in your lungs, blood will stop sending oxygen to your brain. You'll pass out after about 15 seconds. 90 seconds after exposure, you'll die from asphyxiation. It's also very cold in space. You'll eventually freeze solid. Depending on where you are in space, this will take about 12 to 26 hours. But if you're close to a star, you'll be burnt to a crisp instead. Either way, your body will remain that way for a long time. Gut bacteria will start to eat you from the inside out, but not for long, so you will decompose very slowly. You could be floating in space unchanged for millions of years. I thought that was pretty cool. That's what happens if you just exist in space. I'll talk about a few deaths that occurred in space, like I mentioned earlier, but first we need to talk about the Kármán line. It's K-A-R-M-A-N, and both of the A's have a little dash over them. The Kármán line. The Kármán line is an attempt to define a boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space. The FAI, which is something French, but it's the world governing body for air sports, defines the Kármán line as space beginning 62 miles above Earth's mean sea level. This is essentially the edge of space, is the Kármán line. So there were attempts to figure out where space starts and where Earth starts, the Kármán line. In total, there have been 19 deaths that have occurred in space or during the return trip to Earth from space. These 4 occurred below the Kármán line. April 24th, 1967. This was the USSR Soyuz 1 mission piloted by Vladimir Komarov.
It's always a Vladimir.
Always a Vladimir, or a Vladislav. This one-day mission was plagued by a series of mishaps with the new spacecraft type, culminating with its parachute not opening properly after atmospheric re-entry. After launch, a solar panel failed to unfold, leading to a shortage of power for the spacecraft's systems. Later, the automatic stabilization system was completely dead, and the manual system was only partially effective. At this point, the flight director decided to abort the mission. After 18 orbits, Soyuz 1 fired its retro rockets and re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. To slow the descent, first the drogue parachute was deployed, followed by the main parachute. However, due to another defect, the main parachute did not unfold. The exact reason why is unknown. Komarov then activated the manually deployed reserve chute, but it became tangled with the drogue chute, which did not release as intended. As a result, the descent module fell to Earth almost entirely unimpeded at about 89 miles an hour.
Damn.
Komarov was killed when the capsule hit the ground at high speed. The Soyuz 1 crash site is approximately 2 miles west of Karabatak province of Orenburg in the Russian Federation, and a small park on the side of the road is a memorial monument consisting of a black column with a bust of Komarov at the top.
A boost.
A bust.
A bustier.
November 15th, 1967. This was the U.S. X-15 Flight 3-65-97, piloted by Michael J. Adams. During X-15 Flight 191, Adams' seventh flight, the plane had an electrical problem followed by control problems at the apogee of its flight. The pilot may also have become disoriented.
Oh boy.
During re-entry from a 266,000-foot apogee, the X-15 yawed and went into a spin at Mach 5. The pilot recovered, but went into a Mach 4.7 inverted dive. As the X-15 neared 65,000 feet, it was diving at almost Mach 4, approximately 2,600 miles per hour. Excessive loading led to structural breakup. The aircraft was destroyed, and Adams died. Adams was posthumously awarded astronaut wings, as his flight had passed an altitude of 50 miles.
That's so sad.
January 28th, 1986. This was U.S. flight STS-51-L. Gregory Jarvis, Krista McAuliffe, Ronald McNair, Ellison Onizuka, Judith Resnick, Michael J. Smith, and Dick Scobie were passengers of the Space Shuttle Challenger. 73 seconds after Challenger lifted off, the shuttle was destroyed at an altitude of 49,000 feet. The investigation found that cold weather conditions caused an O-ring seal to fail, allowing hot gases from the shuttle solid rocket booster to impinge on the external propellant tank and booster strut. The strut and aft end of the tank failed, allowing the top end of the solid rocket booster to rotate into the top of the tank and causing it to explode. Challenger was thrown sideways into the Mach 1.8 wind stream and broke up with the loss of all 7 crew members. NASA investigators determined they may have survived the spacecraft disintegration, possibly unconscious from hypoxia. Some tried to activate their emergency oxygen. Any survivors of the breakup were killed, however, when the largely intact cockpit hit the water at 200 miles per hour. About half of the vehicle's remains were never recovered, and fragments still washed ashore as long as a decade later on the coast of Florida.
That's insane.
You've seen the Challenger explosion, right?
Probably.
Back in
Been a while, though.
86.
I'm in a lot of pain.
I'm sorry, that's very strange.
It's been happening for a while now, and I've needed to go to a doctor.
Mm.
I just don't want to.
You have a primary doctor?
Yes, I have
Okay,
a
that's good.
physician.
Yeah. And you've got medical insurance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just don't let go.
T-minus 21 seconds. And
Oh, that's gonna be loud.
rocket booster engine gimbal now underway. T-minus 15 seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff. Liftoff of the
Everyone was so excited.
and it has cleared the tower.
Good roll program confirmed. Challenger now heading down range. Engines beginning throttling down now. Normal throttles, most of the plane 104%. We'll throttle down to 65% shortly. Engines at 65%. 3 engines running normally. 3 good fuel cells. 3 good APUs. Velocity 2,257 feet per second. Altitude 4.3 nautical miles. Downrange distance 3 nautical miles.
So the 25th Space Shuttle mission is now on the way after more delays than NASA cares to count. This morning, it looked as though they were not going to be able to get off.
15 seconds. Velocity 2,900 feet per second. Altitude 9 nautical miles. Downrange distance 7 nautical miles.
Looks like a couple of the solid rocket boosters blew away from the side of the shuttle in an explosion.
Controllers, you're looking very carefully at the situation.
Looking very carefully at the situation.
Obviously a major malfunction. Yeah, that was 86. Here live on TV.
So sad.
February 1st,
February.
2003. This is U.S. flight STS-107. Rick D. Husband, William C. McCool,
Cool.
Michael P. Anderson, David M. Brown, Kalpana Chawla, Laurel Clark, and the first Israeli astronaut, Ilan Ramon, were passengers of the space shuttle Columbia. During its planned re-entry, the spacecraft broke apart at an altitude of approximately 40 miles and a velocity of Mach 19, about 14,578 miles per hour. The shuttle's heat shield was compromised due to damage sustained during the initial ascent. Investigation revealed that a piece of foam insulation had fallen off the external tank and hit the shuttle during launch, damaging the reinforced carbon-carbon leading edge of the left wing and allowing the extreme heat of re-entry to cause structural failure. The accident triggered a 7-month investigation and a search for debris, and over 85,000 pieces were collected over the course of the initial investigation, which consisted of about only 38% of the orbiter vehicle. They were unable to recover the rest. But yeah, all the heat, the intense heat coming back into Earth's atmosphere, that weak point on the ship caused it to break apart. And then this incident is the first and only recorded astronaut fatality occurring above the Kármán line, which again is 62 miles above Earth's mean sea level. This occurred on June 30th, 1971. This was USSR flight Soyuz 11, manned by Georgy Dobrovolsky, Viktor Patsayev, and Vladislav Volkov. On June 29th, these three cosmonauts loaded scientific specimens, films, tapes, and other gear into Soyuz 11, then transferred manual control back from Salyut 1 to Soyuz 11 and returned to their ferry craft. Before re-entering Earth's atmosphere, both the work compartment and the service module were routinely jettisoned. This occurred at about 22:47 GMT, when radio communications abruptly ended when the work compartment separated, well before the normal ionospheric blackout. So they, around 22:47 GMT, communications just stopped between ground control and the astronauts. And it occurred before ionospheric blackout. And so apparently there's a period of time during re-entry where communications are lost due to interference, and you pass through the ionosphere, and there's too much interference for the radios to be able to communicate with each other. I don't know how bad it is now with advances in technology, but back in 71, that's what would happen. Almost 25 minutes later, Soyuz 11's automatic systems landed the craft safely at 23:16 GMT in Kazakhstan, after an apparently normal return to Earth. Karamov, chair of the State Commission, recalled, quote, "Outwardly, there was no damage whatsoever. They knocked on the side, but there was no response from within. On opening the hatch, they found all three men in their couches, motionless, with dark blue patches on their faces and trails of blood from their noses and ears. They removed them from the descent module. Dobrovolsky was still warm. The doctors gave artificial respiration. Based on their reports, the cause of death was suffocation. It quickly became apparent that they had asphyxiated. The fault was traced to a breathing ventilation valve located between the orbital module and the descent module that had been jolted open as the descent module separated from the service module, 12 minutes and 3 seconds after retrofire. The two modules were held together by explosive bolts designed to fire sequentially. In fact, they had fired simultaneously. The explosive force of the simultaneous bolt firing caused the internal mechanism of the pressure equalization valve to loosen a seal that was usually discarded later and which normally allowed for automatic adjustment of the cabin pressure. The valve opened at an altitude of 104 miles, and the resultant loss of pressure was fatal within seconds. The valve was located beneath the seats and was impossible to find and block before the air was lost. Flight recorder data from the single cosmonaut outfitted with biomedical sensors showed cardiac arrest occurred within 40 seconds of pressure loss. By 15 minutes, 35 seconds after retrofire, the cabin pressure was 0 and remained there until the capsule entered the Earth's atmosphere. The cosmonauts were given a large state funeral and buried in the remains of Yuri Gagarin. They were also each posthumously awarded the Hero of the Soviet Union medal. That's my section.
Wow.
Deaths in space.
I was expecting more dramatic stuff.
The last one was pretty dramatic.
I agree.
Yeah. Everything was fine. And then they knocked down the spaceship. And everyone was dead.
The blue patches on the face I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that was crazy. And the blood just...
Yeah.
Oh, God, I can't imagine. Space is great, but I think I'm going to stay down here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You will not get me into space.
Oh, thanks, soda.
What do you think of beer?
I thought it was decent, but I don't know. Something about the Pilsner mixed with the hoppiness. I don't think hoppiness really belongs in Pilsners.
No, you don't?
No, I don't.
No, I don't.
Food truck was delicious. I liked that I typically like Pilsners, but if I ordered a Pilsner and I got this, I'd be a little disappointed. It's not a terrible beer. It's just a little too different than what I'm used to drinking or what I like. Out of a lager. It's got the hoppiness of an ale, let me tell you. You?
It's very hoppy, and when you say Pilsner, I don't really expect that.
Yeah.
And it was just, I don't know. I've lost interest in hops, I guess.
Anything hoppy?
Yeah.
We should have another sour beer. Remember when you said your next beer was going to... Ollie's like, yeah. Remember you said the next beer you were going to get was a Saint Laurent beer?
Yeah.
And you didn't do that.
Yeah, keep you on your toes. Maybe I'll do it for my next episode.
All right.
If I can find it, I haven't seen it at Benny's at all.
Yeah, I don't typically shop around at Benny's. It's like I know the beer that I want to get, and I go to the Benny's and I get it.
But I haven't been in like a month now.
Okay.
Because I buy in bulk.
Yeah.
But the last time I was there was no Saint Laurent beers.
Well, next time I'm at a Benny's, I'll need to restock soon. My bar's looking a little thin.
Yeah, it's looking pathetic, actually. I'm honestly surprised you can make me a drink.
I'll look around for some Saint Laurent stuff.
I was expecting you to just like pop out like an old saltine and then spit in it, and that call me a drink.
Yeah,
I am.
saltine spit.
This is what I call the salty surprise.
The salty surprise. That Saint Laurent, that blackberry grunt. Oh my God, that sour was so good.
Talk dirty to me. That was so good.
Oh, if you're not in a hurry, I have a Michigan beer that you might be interested in
Oh,
trying.
I am.
Okay. All right.
I love you, but I have work tomorrow.
Next time, it's a sour. It's a kettle sour, and it tastes like breakfast in a bowl.
Oh,
It's so good, and it's well, I need to check. I can't remember if it's strawberry or raspberry.
it's both.
I'll need to double check. If it's strawberry, you can't have it. Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. It's so good. It tastes like jam. Yeah. BeerandFearCast.com. You can listen to Beer and Fear on all popular podcast platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and more. Visit beerandfearcast.com today.
My sister got another speeding ticket.
What the fuck?
Girl has gotten so many speeding tickets in her life. I swear to God, she needs to be better at not getting caught.
That's what it is, yeah. She can continue to speed, but be better at not getting caught. And then beerandfearcast@gmail.com. Beerandfearcast@gmail.com. If you want to reach out to us. No one's going to, but I'm required to say it. It's in my
By
contract.
law.
It's in my contract.
Who
and
do you have a contract with?
Yeah. It's not important.
I feel like it is important since we both co-host this show. Are you getting paid for this? I'd like to know.
Not important.
You know, I'm not getting paid, but if we're being honest, you'd make more than me because you're a man.
It's terrible.
It's facts.
Here on International Women's Day.
Gotta preach. There for my women. Coming next episode, he'll be replaced with a woman. New co-host.
I think it would be a better show,
I
actually.
agree,
Yeah,
I
no.
think it'd be
Yep.
too. It'd probably be funnier other than me, so I wouldn't have to rely just on me for the comedy portion, you know?
You're right.
You get it.
Yep.
I'm the one with the fans.
Everyone loves you, Paige.
These are facts. Have a good day. Yasota, what are you doing down
She's
there?
laying on my cord.
You
Is what she's
little
doing.
potato. You little liquid baby. Get over.
A hub?
What?
Hub?
What happened?
What's hub?
What'd she say?
A hop?
Who did?
Hop. Oh, like a hop.
Who's getting a what?
We should get a hop tattoos.
Who?
You and I.
Oh.
Hops. Get some hops. I would like
I
a
don't
hop.
like
tattoo.
hops. Why would I want them on my body?
You like hops. You like any IPAs. They're fruity and hoppy.
I'm just like fruity. Bean, look at you. So fluff or buffer. I just want to squish it up over.
I'm terrified of this space.
Terrified of space?
She said of this space. Terrified of this space.
Of this
Creating
space.
an unsafe environment for her. You're so fluffy.
Oh, we're still streaming.
Your dad is gross.
I have a phobia of immensity.